Hi everyone, I'm back again with another review. First off, I wanted to go over something that I touched on with my last one, which was the Ranger keys. I talked briefly about how if you could get them pre-assembled to go ahead and get those rather than getting the individual ones from the toy, from the candy toy gashapons. But I didn't really talk much about what they are as a toy by themselves. All in all, they're just kind of there, something that you might find in a Happy Meal toy. But my son actually prefers to play with the Ranger keys as opposed to an actual Power Ranger toy, and I think that kind of says something about the appeal that something as simple as this would have. Just very few points of articulation, and it turns from an actual little person into a big honking key. So that gives it a new perspective for me. While yes, I still maintain that I wish that they had maintained some type of design function, like maybe something back here, two little pins that you squeeze together and it'll flip the legs up. But you know, it's a nice to have. It's not a need to have. As for the overall sculpt of them, they're very, very simple. They look just like they do in the show. The helmets are fairly minimalistic, just absolute minor details. He doesn't have the little speckling on his goggle there, but they do maintain some things. He's got the one with the eagle wings on it. Though with this one, since it is the first Red Ranger, it'd be nice if he had a little fabric cape on there. But again, nice to have, not a requirement. The chests for all of them are the same, kind of squarish, blocky. Even the females, as you can see, it's the exact same sculpt. It's just the head and the paint job that changes. I don't know if I'm sure most people have noticed this, but the back is unique for each Ranger. They're not going to be the same from one to the next. Just slight differences in the backing there, and that's how you get the different callouts when you put it in the Moberits. Is just like with a key and a lock, tumblers fall into different places and will either lock or unlock. But with these, you get different callouts. That's really all I wanted to touch on the key, the Ranger keys. So they're going to be fairly standard, but they're nice little collectibles. If you want to collect them all, by all means, go ahead. Most of what you're going to get in the candy toys, you're going to be able to find in existing packs. Some exclusives are, I believe that the Go On Wings was a pre-order or a first wave exclusive with the Gokaiger Galleon Buster. GaoRed, the 30th and 35th anniversary Premier Ranger, is going to be exclusive to the Legend Moberits, which if you were lucky enough to get some of the few pre-orders available, congratulations, I missed it, so I'm going to have to shell out extra money to get it. So that's all I have to say about those. So let's get into some of the things that I had planned. Next is the second in the third wave of HD Alpha figurines. I have yet to find the Gokaiger yellow one, but I've got all these here. I did see the Dragon Ranger from I think the second set once, but I didn't get it. I am kicking myself for that. But that was the only one from that set that I've seen. I haven't seen any from the first set, so the third set's all that I've seen at the local Asian food market. So let's open this up and let's take a look at the level of detail that's in it. Okay, so once again, pill candy, no big deal. Once again, base comes separate, but one change is the back arm is attached rather than in the typical cardboard sleeve. He's, aside from the base, he's fully assembled. So first impressions are the paint job is pretty good. It looks like the white paint was either too thick or not thick enough because it's starting to flake off on the knuckles here and on the fangs up here, and this has little stray bits coming off of it. But overall, same high quality sculpt that you'd expect to find in the HD Alpha series. Let's bring this up here so you can guys take a look at that. So we got GaoRed. Was it the Blazing Lion? I think was what his vest said. So yeah, looks good. It's got the beveling on the back of the helmet there. So it's very nice. It's not really coming through, but it's got a little sculpting on the buckle there. Back of the buckle here. It's got their sword there. It doesn't look like there was, I guess, as much detail needed for the actual sculpt on him, just because the Gokaiger Ranger series was fairly minimalistic overall. So yeah, that carries through here, but they put little details where they could, like little wrinkles in the turtleneck and the ripples in fabric, as per usual. So yeah, he turned out pretty good. Next up, this was just recently released. It's not a Japanese toy, but it's the Samurai Megazord Retrofire. For those of you unfamiliar with the Retrofire series, these first came around with the Power Rangers Super Legends. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the first two was the Mighty Morphin Megazord and the High Octane Megazord. And then Valve Max Megazord and Titan Megazord from Mystic Force. And yeah, and then the series kind of went on a hiatus for a while, and then returned with what was it? SPD and SPD and the Jungle Pride Megazord. And then after that, they re-released the Titan Megazord with the Zeo Megazord. And then they've recently there was earlier on there was also the High Octane Megazord, and they've just re-released that along with him. And so but since it was a re-release, I do have it, but since it was a re-release, I'm not going to go into it. Since this is the new one, let's go into him. Very interesting take on the Samurai Megazord. Plastic's a little wonky, so it doesn't come out quite as even, but yeah, that's okay. Again, as you'd expect from the Retrofire series, many good points of articulation. An interesting one is these little side bits here can twist all the way around. Is that coming through? So I don't know why they did that, but whatever. The shield, this one came all kinds of warped, but that doesn't really bother me as much. It's still fun to play with. Clips in at the top of the forearm up there. You can see that. Originally I thought he was supposed to hold it in his hand here, but it wasn't holding very well, and then I was just kind of futzing around with the packaging and saw the instruction booklet, and like, this needs it. Apparently it does, and it shows that the shield clips in there, and I was like, So again, it's a very nice take on the Megazords. They've got all the details there and kind of amplified everything as per usual. So it looks pretty good, highly articulated. I personally absolutely adore this series of toy because it's, you know, it's fun. That's why we get these toys. It's because they're fun. So if you haven't seen any of these, definitely check them out on Amazon, ToysRUs.com. I don't think Target carries them. Walmart, I know, doesn't carry them. I think it's basically you're kind of find them on Toys R Us exclusively now, and on Amazon, Toy Wiz, places like that. So definitely check them out. They're a lot of fun to mess around with. I've got the original Mighty Morphin one sitting on my desk at work. Oh, another thing of note, the Power Rangers Super Legends set all came with little stands with a Thunderbolt on the bottom, and these do not. They don't come with any stands, so you can't put them in any sort of flying poses. I don't know why they got rid of those. I guess they didn't feel like making any more of the plastic, but or they figured that they wouldn't market them towards people who'd have them as collectibles, but rather kids who'd actually just play with them, stab. Either way, they got rid of those, so I've only got the Mighty Morphin with the stand, since the Titan Megazord and the High Octane Megazord I have are re-releases. So the only ones I'm missing are the Valve Max and I don't remember what they called it, but Wild Forces Megazord. Those are the only two I'm missing now. So he's good. Definitely check that series out. Next is another American toy, and it's a big one. Okay, this is going to need to be angled down a bit. This is all of those Power Ranger Samurai Zords put together into one big honkin' thing. So this is as they're calling them, the Samurai Megazord, the Clawzord, where is it? There we go. The Bullzord, Tigerzord, Octopus. Let's spin this bad boy around. And there we've got the Battle Wing stuck back there. So there are noticeable differences from the Sentai, but that's to be expected since they, for whatever reason, decided not to release, just re-release the Japanese toys here. Instead, they remolded their own toys and made modifications. This thing is gigantic. Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. Okay, so I got a ruler. It's coming in at just over, from top to top, just over 16 inches. So that's a big toy. As far as the individual pieces themselves, I don't have the Japanese toys to compare them to. I've seen those reviews, and those toys just, regularly are a lot bigger than their American counterparts, which I guess in this particular instance is a good thing, because if they're too much bigger, then this thing would be, well, probably about 2 feet tall. The Clawzord I actually was apprehensive to get for the longest time, but I finally buckled down and got it. I actually like it. It's fun to put together and take apart. My kids love to help as well. The Samurai Megazord is fairly vanilla. All of the auxiliary Zords, the Beetle Zord, Swordfish Zord, Tiger Zord, Octopus Zord, they're all kind of, they're not that special. They're not that awful. Take them or leave them. The Bull Megazord, however, I kind of like to. I just like the look of it. It's red. It's white. It's got gold accents. I like that. I like that color scheme. I like that it came with 2 discs, because I've been trying to get my hands on all the ones that they're going to release here. Just because I said I like to sword battle a lot. It's fun. It's fun to play with my kids. Everything together, aside from being unwieldy, and I have no desire to play with this thing in the state it's in. It looks gigantic, but there is one big problem, which is the octopus head. No matter how you move it, this happens. The reason why this happens is because his little nose here, right there, that little hole with this peg right here from the side of the Tiger Zord is its only point of connection, right next to a little hinge. So I think that was kind of a design flaw. Not kind of, it was flat out a design flaw. So yeah, even in the battle wing mode, or if you've got this thing set up as the cannon, it's a bit of a nightmare to play with. But it is what it is. Another design flaw came from when they were designing the Samurai Megazord. It's down here at the feet. Let's spin this around. It's supposed to be, you've got the pink and yellow Zords just kind of slapped on the side. You can see it working here with the pink Zord, because it actually folds down into this circle origami piece. But they never designed the Yellow Rangers to fold down past flipping this open to make the ape. So it just kind of it stands out. It's top heavy. It flops around a lot. Seems kind of useless. So I mean, while this is still just kind of hanging out there, there's no kind of symmetry here. It's just annoying. So even though, according to the rather lengthy instruction guides, it says to keep these on, I'd say not. Just set them aside. They don't serve any purpose. So there's that. And speaking of the rather lengthy instruction guides, since I save everything, at least everything paper, here are the instructions. I'm actually going to have to scoot back for this. Alright. So from... where we got? So this first part here is just transforming the Bull Megazord into the Bull Zord, and then putting the Samurai Megazord on top of it. So that's this first row. Everything else, front and back, is assembling what they're calling the Gigazord, not the Ultra Zord, breaking tradition. So Gigazord here took all those instructions to assemble, and good lord, It's an extreme amalgamation. Oh, and also the lobster tail is just kind of randomly slapped on. Yeah, I don't know why they wanted to put it there instead of snapping it somewhere on the back or what, but yeah. Considering all the other changes that they made, I'm surprised. But what can you do? So that's the Gigazord. I don't really have much else to say on that. Let's get these out of here. Next on the agenda is the GoZyuJin model kit. Now, I've heard a lot of people debating about what the romanization of GoZyuJin is supposed to be. Some people say it's GoZyuJin. Some people say it's GoZyuJin. I was inclined to say GoZyuJin because it was supposed to be Time Ranger, ZuRanger, and Aba Ranger's powers combined, so ZuRanger. That a lot of people say Ju because Japanese pronounce Z and J very similar. But I think that this might settle that debate. Let's see. As you can see, it has, let me pull it back a bit, it has Romanji underneath the title. Unfortunately, with both box 1 and box 2, the offending letter is covered. But in box 3, we've clearly got a Z right there. So, since they bothered to put it in Romanji, I say we pronounce it with the romanization of Zu. That's just me. People are going to argue that it's a Japanese character, therefore it must be pronounced with the Japanese vernacular. But since they bothered putting in Romanji, to me that opens it up to pronouncing it with the romanization. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's Zu, not Ju. However, that's just a minor note. So let's go ahead and pop these boxes open and get this thing assembled so we can review it. Okay, so here we have part C, the legs, part B, the arms, and part A, the head and torso. So, what do we do with these? Well, that's what this will tell us somehow. So, let's see here. Alright, so I'm going to go through all this and just kind of take you through the 3 different transformations. So we start off with let's fix that. Get in. Oh, there we go. Okay, so here we have GoZyuJin in standard robo mode. As you can see, he is adorned plentifully with stickers. Oh wait, hang on. He's not quite GoZyuJin yet. GoZyuJin, whatever. There we go. Break open that T-Rex skull. Okay. So we start off with this. The little drill arm here. Speaking of drill, we're going to now make Goju drill. Or Gozu drill. Trying to please everybody here. Okay, so these actually come off first. So, whoops. These come up. This guy comes down. Actually turn the head all the way inside, which is kind of awesome. Okay. Flip this down. There we go. These guys turn in. This locks there. That locks there. Alrighty. So that kind of works. Next on the hit parade. You took your drill. Stick it in the front. Is that it? Oh. Flip the little wings on the drill down. There we go. Gozu drill. And last but not least, Fold these down. Guess we can turn these back upwards. I'll actually take these arms off here. Alrighty, and there we go. Here we have GoZyuJin. So he's heavily sticker adorned. It's not the best quality model kit ever, but you know, only cost me like $15, and after all 3 pieces were bought after tax. So yeah. Oh, it's kind of cool. Now that all that's out of the way, I hope you liked everything you saw. Questions, comments, violent reactions, comment below. After I do part 2 of my Gokaiger versus RPM retrospective, I will try to do the previous seasons in sequential order as video reviews as well, but we'll see how that works out. And until then, take it easy and have a good rest of the month. How could I forget? I said on my Facebook that I was going to be reviewing something else. A Brad Jones favorite. Not See Kola. Very delicious drink with a very unfortunate name. It's heralded as the return of Crystal Pepsi. Now, I know a lot of people either don't know what Crystal Pepsi is or honestly doesn't remember it. It's often described as a combination between Sprite and caffeine-free Pepsi. Accurate though that may be, it might be a little hard for some people to imagine it. So, let's crack this open. First off the bat, it smells kind of, it smells like a lemon slushy, like some sort of Italian ice with some sort of light lemony syrup in it. It smells like, you know, shaved ice. And it tastes kind of like I mean, aside from tasting like Crystal Pepsi, let's try and describe what Crystal Pepsi tastes like to those who, probably can't imagine from the previous descriptions. It tastes kind of like, those kind of triangular ices that you have to cut the top off and push it up. Small paper wrapping. It tastes kind of like one of those, a little bit warm, pretty melted down. If it were made out of Pepsi and lemonade, because I personally don't taste the Sprite. It's a very light flavor. It's not very carbonated. Delicious, and it has a very lingering flavor. It's not one of those drinks that as soon as the liquid goes down your throat, the taste goes away. It kind of stays with you for a little bit. There was, or is, I guess, a distributor out here in Seattle, and apparently he's been having issues getting a hold of inventory and getting it out to other people. So I actually contacted the distributors directly at realsoda.com and ordered a 12-pack of Not See Kola, and shipping was outrageous. It didn't cost much for the bottles themselves, but it cost almost 3 times as much just for the shipping, which is understandable. They're shipping out glass bottles, so you gotta kind of expect that. So it cost me about $38, I think. This is my second to last one. I got them towards the beginning of January, and I've been slowly savoring them, along with Mexican Coke, which is delicious. And that's all I've had lately. One thing that's interesting, let's see if this comes through here. Here we go. It was bottled at Lake Distress. Yeah, very interesting there. But yeah, not much else to say about it. If you like Crystal Pepsi, you'll like this. If you didn't, you won't. If you like drinks that aren't, pops that aren't extremely fizzy but not necessarily flat, this might be up your alley. Citrusy stuff, good for you. Yeah, if you don't really like kind of, I don't want to say flat drinks, but drinks that kind of tickle your throat with bubbles. If that's the whole reason why you drink pop, then you probably won't care for this. Because there's very little carbonation. I mean, you can see some bubbles there, but I mean, there's nothing up top. It doesn't stay around. So, okay, so that's all I've got for you. It is now almost 2 in the morning, so have a good night, everybody.